Story 1. This is the story of Beth, a 32-year-old from rural Kentucky who moved into an old farmhouse with her husband and spent the first 3 weeks thinking the strange things happening were just the house settling, until the night she walked out to the barn at midnight and found every single animal on the property standing completely still, facing the same direction, staring at the far field. And in that field, something standing at the edge of the tree line, something too tall to be a man, that turned and looked directly at her and walked slowly back into the trees. My name is Beth. I'm 32 years old. My husband David and I moved to a farmhouse in rural Kentucky 3 years ago. We had both grown up in cities. The move was our dream. Land, space, quiet. A small farm with chickens and 2 goats, and an old barn that needed work but had good bones. We were not prepared for what the countryside actually was. Not the hard work, not the isolation. We were not prepared for what lived at the edge of our property. The first 3 weeks were everything we had hoped for. Hard work, good tired, the satisfaction of fixing and building and making something yours. The small, strange things started at the end of the 3rd week. The chickens stopped going into the coop at dusk. They had been doing it perfectly every night since we arrived. At dusk, they filed in and we locked the door. Routine, reliable. Then one evening, they would not go in. They clustered at the coop door and would not enter. Pacing, agitated, no obvious reason. David had to catch each one individually and put them in. It happened 3 nights in a row. On the 4th night, the goats were agitated too, pulling at their tethers, eyes wide, facing the far field at the back of the property. David checked the field with a flashlight. Nothing. The animals settled eventually. We told ourselves it was coyotes nearby. Smell on the wind. Something they could sense that we could not. 2 weeks later, I woke at midnight. I do not know why. No sound, no dream, just suddenly wide awake. David was asleep beside me. I lay still for a moment, listening to the house. And then I heard the animals. Not loud, not panicked. A low, continuous sound from the barn, like distress that had been going on for a while and had exhausted itself into something quieter and more terrible. I got up, put on my boots and coat, took the flashlight from the kitchen, walked to the barn. The barn door was closed as I had left it. I opened it. Every animal was standing completely still. The goats, the chickens roosted on their bars, but awake and motionless. The barn cat frozen on a hay bale, all of them facing the same direction. The back wall of the barn, which faced the far field, standing perfectly still, staring, in a silence that felt like it had weight. I had never seen animals do that. I have never seen it since. That particular quality of stillness that is not rest, but something else. Something older. Something that bypasses thought and goes straight to the body. I went back outside, walked around the barn to face the far field. The flashlight beam reached maybe 30 feet. Beyond that, the field was dark. I shone the light toward the tree line at the far end of the field, maybe 200 feet away. Something was standing at the tree line. The edge of my flashlight beam just reached it. Tall, much taller than a man. Standing at the boundary between the field and the trees. Not moving. I stood there looking at it for what felt like a very long time. It stood there looking back at me. And then it turned, slowly, deliberately and walked back into the trees. It did not run, did not startle, did not hurry. It simply turned and walked away with the unhurried ease of something that had decided to leave, not something that had been frightened away. I went back inside and locked every door. David woke up when I came back to bed. He asked what was wrong. I told him the animals were unsettled, that I had checked and everything was fine. I did not tell him what I had seen. In the morning, I walked the far field to the tree line. The ground was soft from recent rain. There were prints in the mud at the tree line. I am not a tracker. I cannot identify prints with certainty, but I know what human prints look like, and I know what deer prints look like, and I know what every other animal on our property looks like. These were none of those things. Two prints, side by side, deep in the soft mud, much larger than any human foot, and between the prints and the tree line, nothing. Like whatever had made them had simply stopped existing at that point. We sold the farm 18 months later. We told the buyers it was a lifestyle change, that city life was calling us back. We did not tell them about the far field. We did not tell them about the tree line. I think about those prints sometimes, the size of them, the depth of them. Whatever made them had weight. Whatever made them was real. And whatever it was, it knew we were there. And it came to look every night for as long as we lived there. We just did not know it until that night. Story 2. This is the story of Owen, a 40-year-old from rural Shropshire, England, a farmer who had worked the same land his father had worked and his grandfather before that, who began finding his sheep in the mornings arranged in a perfect circle in the far pasture, not harmed, not distressed, just standing in a perfect circle facing outward, every morning for 2 weeks, until he decided to stay out all night and watch the pasture from the old stone wall at its edge. And what he saw moving through his fields at 3 in the morning has not let him sleep properly since. My name is Owen. I am 40 years old. I farm 200 acres in rural Shropshire in the west of England. My family has farmed this land for 3 generations. My grandfather broke this soil. My father expanded the flock. I have spent my entire life on this land. I know it the way you only know a place when you have walked every inch of it in every season for 40 years. Which is why what started happening 2 years ago made no sense, and still makes no sense. It started in early spring. I came out at 6 in the morning for the first check of the day, walked to the far pasture where 40 of my ewes were grazing, and stopped at the gate. They were standing in a circle, all 40 of them, a perfect circle in the center of the pasture, facing outward, evenly spaced, like something had arranged them deliberately. Sheep do not do this. I have kept sheep my entire life. I know their behavior completely. Sheep cluster. Sheep mob together when frightened. Sheep follow. They do not stand in perfect circles facing outward in the middle of a field at 6 in the morning. I went into the pasture, checked each animal. No injuries, no signs of distress. Normal behavior the moment I disturbed the formation. They broke apart and went back to grazing like nothing had happened. I told myself it was a one-time thing. The next morning, same circle, same pasture, same 40 sheep. Perfect circle facing outward. It happened every morning for 2 weeks. I checked the pasture at midnight one night and they were grazing normally. By 6 in the morning, they were in the circle. Something was happening between midnight and dawn. I am not a fanciful man. I do not believe in things I cannot explain. I am a farmer. I believe in soil and weather and animal behavior and practical solutions to practical problems. I could not find a practical solution to this. On the 14th night, I went out at midnight, climbed the old stone wall at the edge of the far pasture, and sat with my back against it. Clear night, nearly full moon, good visibility across the pasture. The sheep were grazing, normal. I sat and watched. At 1 in the morning, nothing had changed. At 2 in the morning, nothing had changed. I was cold, tired, beginning to feel foolish. At 3 in the morning, I saw the lights. Not lights from the road, not lights from any farm I could see. Coming across the fields from the north, low to the ground, moving slowly. 3 of them, pale, yellowish, moving in a loose formation, crossing my neighbor's field, crossing the hedgerow onto my land, moving toward the far pasture, moving toward the sheep. I pressed myself against the stone wall and watched. The sheep had stopped grazing. They were already moving, slowly, calmly, no sign of distress, moving into position. The circle forming before the lights had even reached the pasture, like they had done this many times before, like they knew what was coming, like they had been trained. The lights entered the pasture. They moved slowly around the outside of the circle of sheep, circling it once, twice, 3 times. I could not see what was carrying the lights, or what the lights were attached to, or whether they were attached to anything at all. Just 3 slow, pale lights circling my 40 sheep at 3 in the morning. After the 3rd circuit, the lights stopped, went still, and then began moving back the way they had come, crossing the hedgerow, crossing my neighbor's field, back toward the north. I watched until they were gone. I sat on that stone wall until sunrise. In the morning, the sheep were in their circle. It stopped after that night. I have never seen the lights again. The sheep have not formed the circle since. I have never told anyone the full story. My wife knows something happened. She saw my face that morning. But I could not explain it then, and I cannot explain it now. I still farm the same land. I still check the far pasture every morning at 6. And every morning, I am relieved to find the sheep grazing normally, scattered across the pasture the way sheep are supposed to be. But some mornings, when the light is still low and grey and the mist is on the fields, I look at the far pasture and I hold my breath for just a moment before I can see clearly enough to know. Just in case. Story 3. This is the story of Diane, a 35-year-old from rural Louisiana who was driving home alone on a back road through the bayou country at 10 at night, when her headlights lit up a woman standing in the road, barefoot, white dress, soaking wet, though it had not been raining. Diane stopped, asked if she needed help. The woman said one word, "Run," and then looked past Diane at the road behind her. And the expression on her face when she looked at whatever was behind Diane's car was the most frightening thing Diane had ever seen on a human face. And when Diane turned to look, the road behind her was empty, and the woman was gone. My name is Diane. I am 35 years old. I grew up in rural Louisiana, bayou country, the kind of landscape that does not look the way the rest of America looks. Water and cypress and Spanish moss, and roads that run through swamp on both sides, with nowhere to go if something goes wrong. I have driven those roads my whole life. I know them at night. I know the particular dark that bayou country has after 10 in the evening, when there are no other cars, and the only light is your headlights and the occasional reflection of the water on either side. I am not easily frightened. I am still frightened by what happened on Parish Road 14 3 years ago. It was a Wednesday night in October. I had been to visit my aunt and was driving home. About 40 minutes of back road between her place and mine. I had done the drive 100 times. At the 20-minute mark, my headlights lit up a figure in the road. I hit the brakes immediately, stopped about 20 feet from her. A woman standing in the center of the road. White dress, long, the kind of dress that belongs to a different era, not modern. Barefoot on the asphalt, soaking wet. Her hair plastered to her face and shoulders, water dripping from her arms, completely soaked through. It had not rained in 3 days. I put the car in park, left the headlights on her, got out. I know now that getting out was the wrong thing to do, but I got out. "Are you okay?" I said. "Do you need help?" She looked at me. Her face was hard to read at first. Shock, exhaustion, something else underneath that I could not name yet. She said one word, "Run." Flat, certain, the voice of someone who had moved beyond fear into something past it. Not a warning given in panic, a statement of fact. Before I could respond, she looked past me, over my shoulder, at the road behind my car. And her face changed. I have seen frightened people. I have seen people in pain. I have seen people in shock. I have never seen an expression like the one that came over her face in that moment. It was not fear exactly. It was recognition. The expression of someone who had seen something before, something they had hoped never to see again, and were seeing again now. I turned around. The road behind my car was empty, headlights showing the asphalt for 100 feet behind me. Empty road, cypress trees on both sides, the black water of the bayou beyond them. Nothing. I turned back. She was gone. The road in front of my car was empty. No woman, no white dress, no wet footprints on the asphalt. Nothing. I stood beside my car in the dark for a long moment. The bayou made its sounds around me. Frogs, insects, water, normal sounds. I got back in my car. I locked the doors. I did not look in the rearview mirror. I drove home without stopping. I did not sleep that night. I kept thinking about her face, the expression when she looked past me at the road behind my car, the recognition in it. I looked up the road the next day. Parish Road 14 has a history, several accidents over the decades, the kind that happen on bayou roads at night, the kind where cars leave the road and enter the water. Not all of them recovered. A woman had died on that road in 1962. Her car had gone into the bayou at night. They found the car. They did not find her. She had been wearing a white dress when she left her sister's house that evening. I do not know what she saw behind my car that night. I do not know what she had seen that night in 1962 that had put her car in the water. I do not know why she appeared on that road 60 years later to warn me. But I think about the expression on her face, the recognition, the way she looked at whatever was behind my car like she knew it, like she had met it before, like she knew exactly what it did to cars on that road at night. I take a different route home now, 40 minutes longer. I do not care. And if anyone ever tells you they saw a woman in a white dress standing in the road on Parish Road 14, believe them and take a different road. 3 people, 3 pieces of countryside, 3 things that the daylight and the noise and the safety of the city keep hidden from us. Beth sold her farm. She lives in Louisville now. She told me she still looks out windows at night sometimes, at fields, at tree lines, at the dark edge where the light stops. And she still feels it sometimes, that particular quality of being watched. Not by a person, by something older, something patient, something that was in that field long before she arrived, and will be there long after she is gone. Owen still farms his land in Shropshire. The sheep are fine. The circles have not come back. But he told me last spring that he found something in the north hedgerow where the lights had come from. A section of old hawthorn where the branches had been pressed apart, deliberately, to make a gap just wide enough to pass through. He showed his wife. She said it was probably deer. He did not argue. But he filled the gap in with new growth and wire and checks it every week. And Diane drives the long way home, every night, without exception. She told me she has never seen the woman again. But sometimes, late at night, on the long route home, when the bayou road runs dark on both sides and there are no other cars, she checks the road behind her in the rear-view mirror, just to make sure. Nothing is following. The countryside is beautiful. Rolling fields, old hedgerows, open sky. The deep quiet that city people drive hours to find on weekends. But the countryside is old. Older than any town. Older than any road. Older than any name we have given to any piece of it. And some of what lives in it has been there since long before we started cutting fields out of the wilderness and calling them ours. It does not mind us being there. It does not object to our farms and our fences and our roads through the dark. It just watches. From the tree lines, from the far fields, from the road ahead. Patient, quiet, waiting for the moment we are alone enough and far enough from any light to finally introduce itself. Good night.